The one thing you must stop doing, the very thing that pushes success away from you, is living in the consciousness of lack. Now let me tell you what I mean by this, for it is of paramount importance. Every moment of your day, you are either living in the consciousness of lack or the consciousness of abundance. There is no middle ground, no neutral state of being. When you declare, I want success, you are actually affirming its absence. When you say, I need more money, you are dwelling in the consciousness of not having enough. When you proclaim, I wish I was successful, you are living in a state of wanting rather than having. Do you see the subtle yet crucial difference? Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. The outside world is nothing more than the objectification of your inner assumptions. Whatever you are experiencing now, be it lack or abundance, is the direct result of your accepted beliefs about yourself and the world. Tonight, I will show you how to move from the consciousness of lack to the consciousness of fulfillment, from the state of wanting to the state of having, from the condition of seeking to the condition of being. Consider this. When you say, I want success, you are placing success outside of yourself, making it something to be attained rather than something to be expressed. This is the fundamental error that keeps pushing success away from you. Success is not something to be pursued. It is a consciousness to be assumed. Let me tell you a story from my own experience. Many years ago, I knew a man who constantly spoke about wanting to be successful. He would say, when I become successful, I will. And then list all the things he would do. Year after year, success eluded him. Why? Because he was living in the consciousness of wanting success rather than being successful. Then one day he heard what I'm telling you now. He realized that as long as he lived in the consciousness of wanting success, he would continue to experience the want of success. That very night, he made a fundamental shift in his consciousness. Instead of saying, I want success, he began to live from the consciousness of being successful. He would fall asleep each night feeling the naturalness of being successful. He would walk through his day experiencing the feeling of being successful. He made this his new normal state of consciousness. Now pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you, for this is the crux of the matter. Success is not a future event. It is a present state of consciousness. The feeling of being successful now is the secret of experiencing success in what you call the future. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying things like, I need more money, I want better relationships, I wish I had more opportunities, you are actually reinforcing the very state that keeps these things from you. You are dwelling in the consciousness of absence, and the law of consciousness dictates that what you assume, you must express. Let me show you how to make this fundamental shift in consciousness. First, you must understand that your imagination is not a tool for daydreaming about what you want. It is the very substance of reality itself. When I speak of imagination, I am speaking of your consciousness, your I amness. The Bible tells us, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not mere poetry, it is a practical instruction in the art of consciousness transformation. When you continue to live in the consciousness of lack, you are using your imagination, your creative power, to perpetuate the very condition you wish to change. Consider this profound truth. Everything in your world is pushing against you with the force of your own assumption. If you assume lack, the whole world will prove you right. If you assume abundance, the same world will reorganize itself to prove that assumption. Now, let me give you a practical technique to stop living in the consciousness of lack. Tonight, when you go to bed, instead of reviewing your day of wanting and seeking success, you will enter into a new state of consciousness. You will feel as though you are already successful. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. This is a complete assumption of the state of consciousness of being successful. Feel its naturalness. Feel how it would feel to be the person you desire to be. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment, the gratitude that would be yours if you were already expressing success. Many of you are thinking, but Neville, how can I feel successful when my current reality shows me the opposite? This is where most people remain trapped in the consciousness of lack. They allow their current circumstances to dictate their inner state. Let me tell you something remarkable. Your present circumstances are nothing more than the harvest of your previous assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by accepting them as final. Think about this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone who dared to assume a state that their senses denied. Every invention, every discovery, every advancement started in the imagination of someone who refused to accept current circumstances as final. The one thing you must stop doing is allowing your present facts to determine your inner conversations. Your inner conversations are your actual state of consciousness. When you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not qualified enough, you are having inner conversations that perpetuate the state of lack. Instead, you must begin new inner conversations based on the assumption of already being what you desire to be. When you walk, you must walk with the feeling of being successful. When you talk, you must talk from the consciousness of being successful. When you work, you must work from the state of being successful. Let me share with you a profound secret. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. Whatever you are feeling as true about yourself right now is creating your future experiences. If you are feeling the frustration of wanting success, you are creating more experiences of wanting success. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. When I tell you to live in the consciousness of success rather than the consciousness of lack, I am not suggesting mere mental gymnastics. I am revealing to you the very foundation of creation itself. Consider this every night before you sleep. Your consciousness is in a state of high receptivity. This is the time when the seed of your assumption will take root most deeply. Instead of falling asleep feeling the frustration of what you don't have, fall asleep in the consciousness of already having what you desire. Let me give you a specific technique. As you lay in your bed, try to close your eyes and ask yourself this question. How would I feel if I were expressing the success I desire? Then let that feeling envelop you completely. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment, the absolute knowing that success is not something you're seeking, but something you're expressing right now. Remember, the subconscious mind accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. It doesn't argue, it doesn't question, it simply accepts and then proceeds to express that acceptance in your outer world. This is why feeling is the secret. Many of you have been told that you must work hard, struggle, and sacrifice to achieve success. But I tell you, these are the very assumptions that keep you bound to the consciousness of lack. Success is not achieved through effort. It is expressed through assumption. Think about this. When you assume the feeling of success, you are actually moving into a different state of consciousness. In this new state, opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous state of consciousness suddenly become visible and available to you. Let me share with you a principle that few understand. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Everything you perceive is an expression of your own consciousness. Therefore, when you live in the consciousness of lack, the whole world conspires to show you lack. When you live in the consciousness of success, the same world reorganizes itself to show you success. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, but your actions must spring from the consciousness of already being successful, not from the consciousness of trying to become successful. Do you see the difference? When you act from the consciousness of lack, your actions are tinged with anxiety, doubt, and the energy of seeking. But when you act from the consciousness of already being successful, your actions flow naturally, effortlessly, inspired by the very state you have assumed. Consider this: success is not a destination. It is a state of consciousness. Just as you can move from one room to another in your physical home, you can move from one state of consciousness to another in your spiritual home. The move is accomplished not by physical effort, but by assumption. Let me tell you something profound. The state of consciousness of already being successful knows exactly what to do. It knows precisely what actions to take. It attracts the right circumstances, the right people, the right opportunities. But you must first occupy that state. Let us now address what many find most challenging: maintaining this new state of consciousness when your external world has not yet caught up with your inner assumption. This is where most people falter, where they allow the evidence of their senses to pull them back into the consciousness of lack. Remember this eternal truth: the outer world must conform to your inner assumptions, but it does so in its own time and in what often appears to be a natural way. While you're waiting for the outer manifestation, you must maintain the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. Let me share with you what I mean by persistence in assumption. When you wake each morning, your first thoughts often determine the tone of your entire day. Instead of waking to thoughts of what you lack or what you need to achieve, wake to the consciousness of already being successful. Feel it as naturally as you feel the pillow beneath your head. Many of you ask, but Neville, what about when things go wrong? What about when circumstances seem to contradict my assumption? Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, for this is crucial. Circumstances have no power to alter your state of consciousness unless you give them that power. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, that is the time to intensify your feeling of already being what you desire to be. Remember, the outer world is only reflecting your past assumptions. Your present assumption, if persisted in, will become your future fact. Consider this. Every moment of your day, you are either strengthening your new state of consciousness or falling back into the old state of lack. Your inner conversations, your reactions to events, your feelings about yourself, these are either confirming your new state or contradicting it. Let me give you a specific example. When you receive a bill in the mail, do you immediately fall into the consciousness of lack, thinking, how will I pay this? Or do you maintain the consciousness of abundance, knowing that as a successful person, all your needs are met with ease? Your reaction in such moments reveals your true state of consciousness. This is why I tell you, the one thing you must stop doing is allowing external circumstances to determine your internal state. Your internal state must be maintained regardless of external evidence. This is the art of living from the end. Think about this. Success is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens from you. It is the outer expression of an inner conviction. When you truly live in the consciousness of being successful, success becomes as natural as breathing. Many of you have been taught to set goals, to make plans, to take action. But I tell you, before all of these, you must first establish the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. For your goals, plans, and actions will then spring from this new state of consciousness, carrying with them the power of fulfillment. Let me share with you a profound secret about manifestation. The world is not responding to your wants, your needs, or your wishes. It is responding to your state of consciousness. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying, I want success, you are actually manifesting more wanting, not more success. Now let us discuss what I consider to be the most vital aspect of this teaching, the role of faith in maintaining your new state of consciousness. But when I speak of faith, I do not mean blind belief or hoping for the best. I speak of faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen in the external world. Consider this profound truth. Faith is nothing more than loyalty to your unseen assumption. When you assume the consciousness of being successful and persist in that assumption despite all external evidence to the contrary, you are exercising true faith. Let me tell you something that few understand about the nature of faith. Faith is not believing that something will happen in the future. Faith is knowing that what you desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore must manifest in your experience. This is why I tell you that imagination creates reality. Many of you struggle with maintaining your assumption because you're constantly looking for evidence in the external world. But I tell you, the evidence appears after the assumption, never before. Your task is to remain faithful to your assumption until it hardens into fact. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you are living in direct opposition to the law of consciousness. The correct attitude is, I'll see it because I believe it. This is the true meaning of faith. When you wake in the morning and your external world shows no sign of your assumed success, that is the moment to intensify your faith. Instead of allowing the external to shake your conviction, let every contradiction strengthen your resolve to maintain your new state of consciousness. Let me share with you a practical technique for maintaining your faith. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself slipping back into the consciousness of lack, stop and ask yourself this question: How would I be thinking and feeling right now if I were already expressing the success I desire? This simple question will bring you back to your desired state of consciousness. But remember, this is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about assuming the natural feeling of already being what you desire to be. Consider how a truly successful person thinks and feels. They don't wake up wondering if success will come to them. They don't go through their day seeking success. They live, move, and have their being in the consciousness of success. This must become your new normal. Many of you have created habits of thought and feeling that perpetuate the consciousness of lack. Every time you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not ready, you are strengthening these habits. These must be replaced with new habits that spring from your assumed state of success. Let me tell you something profound about habits of consciousness. They can be changed in an instant by assumption. The moment you assume a new state of consciousness, you have changed. The persistence of that change depends entirely on your loyalty to the new state. Let us now explore what happens in the interval between your assumption and its manifestation in the physical world. This interval is where most people falter, where they allow doubt to creep in and return to the old state of consciousness. Remember this. The interval is not a period of waiting, it is a period of gestation. Just as a seed planted in the ground requires time to grow into a visible plant, your assumption requires time to grow into a visible manifestation. But the seed does not doubt. It simply grows according to law. Many of you ask, how long must I maintain this new consciousness before I see results? This is the voice of doubt, the voice that would pull you back into the consciousness of lack. Time is not a factor in the operation of consciousness. The only factor is the intensity and persistence of your assumption. Consider this: every moment you spend wondering when your desire will manifest is a moment spent in the consciousness of not having it. Every moment you spend checking to see if it's working is a moment of doubt. These moments of doubt are like continually digging up a seed to see if it's growing. Let me share with you the secret of perfect faith. Live as though your assumption is already fact. When you truly assume the consciousness of being successful, you no longer worry about when or how it will manifest. You simply live from that state, knowing that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Think about this: the outer world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of your inner assumptions. What you are experiencing now is the result of past assumptions. What you will experience tomorrow is being determined by your consciousness today. Many of you struggle with what appears to be failure or setback. But I tell you, there is no such thing as failure when you understand the law of consciousness. What appears as failure is simply the passing away of an old state of consciousness. It is making way for the new state you have assumed. Let me tell you something profound about the nature of success. It is not a series of achievements or acquisitions. It is a state of consciousness that, once truly assumed, expresses itself in countless ways in your external world. When you live in the consciousness of success, success becomes your natural experience. Consider how different your life would be if you never again lived in the consciousness of lack. If you never again said, I can't, I need, I want. If you lived completely and consistently in the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. This is the challenge I leave with you tonight. Stop doing the one thing that pushes success away. Stop living in the consciousness of lack. Begin now to live in the consciousness of fulfillment. Let every thought, every feeling, every inner conversation spring from the assumption that you are already what you desire to be. Remember this eternal truth. The world is yourself pushed out. Change your concept of self, and you change your world. There is no other way. All things exist in consciousness, and it is from consciousness that all things appear. Your task is simple. Though it may not be easy, assume the consciousness of being successful now. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, but now. For now is the only time there is. And now is when your assumptions are creating your future. I leave you with this final thought. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you express from a state of consciousness. The consciousness of lack perpetuates lack. The consciousness of success perpetuates success. Choose this day which consciousness you will live from. For in the end, there is only one cause behind all effects, one source of all manifestation, consciousness. And you are that consciousness individualized as you. The power is within you. The choice is yours. The time is now. Test this law. Prove it to yourself. For in the testing lies your freedom. And in the proving lies your transformation. Go now and live in the assumption that you are already that which you desire to be. And watch as your world transforms to reflect your new state of consciousness. The one thing you must stop doing is waiting to be successful. For success is not a future state to be achieved, it is a present state to be assumed. Assume it now, live from it now, be it now. For what you assume, you become. And now, knowing this truth, knowing that the power is within you, knowing that your consciousness creates your reality, go forth and be what you desire to be. For in this knowing lies your freedom. And in this freedom lies your power. Test it. Prove it. Live it. For this is the law. And this is the way. Good night.